I received a 64.6% on the last exam, which was not at all the grade I was expecting nor hoping for. But while taking the test, I realized that I had not properly prepared myself for the exam and was going to get a much lower grade than expected. I definitely assumed that the questions on the Kahoot game we played in class was going to be the majority of the exam. I studied those questions that were on the Kahoot game while also trying to understand all the material presented in each question. For example, the question that read, which governing law protects patients' privacy that is linked to an academic institution? And all the options were HIPAA, HITECH, FERPA, and PHI. While the correct answer was FERPA, I also made sure that I knew what the other three options were so I had a better understanding of all the various laws within healthcare in case the question was asked regarding one of the other laws and not just FERPA. I thought it was going to be an easy exam since I had assumed what was mentioned on the Kahoot were all the possible questions on the exam. However, that was definitely not the case. The Kahoot only had 30 questions while the exam had 70. There were a lot of questions on the exam over material that I did not study at all in order to properly prepare myself for this exam. I was also not prepared for the fill-in-the-blank questions. I assumed that it was mostly multiple choice, so those were definitely ones that I struggled with the most, so clearly I did not have a well understanding of all the material. I looked over the presentation slides and wrote down what I thought was the most important information on each slide, but I failed to fully understand each concept within the slides and didn't pay attention to the minor details about certain objectives that were obviously important regarding the exam. After seeing what the first exam entailed and the material that it all covered, for the next exam I will now have a better understanding on how to properly prepare myself. For the next exam, I will now write down notes in class, but not over what is said on the slides. Instead, I will write down what Miss Neal says outside of the slides, along with the discussions that follow in class. When I am studying for the exam, I will incorporate that excess information into what is on the slide and hopefully have a better understanding of the material. I will also study more in depth and not just look over the material presented on the Kahoot game or the slides. This time I will be getting my book out and reading while taking notes in order to help me remember what I am reading within the book. The exams in this class should be studied for more than just a day, so I will begin studying for this exam no later than 2 days ahead. But with each class period we have, I will begin paying more attention, getting more involved, and writing down more notes in order to prepare myself for this next exam that we are having.